All right, so Master Mason note. We'll tear it up here for the Bluestone militia. Kyle, one of my generals, seems to have a problem. Whether he likes to feel that I'm relative to the information or not, that's may not be important. He has opinion. Let me see what I can do for him. This is the American climate or the climate accord, whatever. The problem with the climate accord, why he's got everybody slink down in the chair. Well, I think Biden does say something. He did say something to where the information actually is. I'm gonna hub that off to break down the particle the other way and say, well, that's where I see the money right now. It might be something to just blow the fire under the accord to say, hey, well, I gotta have something that makes it worth it for the money, because out there it's not just ours. In my backyard, I might have a few leaves out of order. All right. Good for the nitrogen. That's a pretty dry spot over there. I don't necessarily want to be taking it away from it. Given other methodologies of pouring chemicals in there with a crick right down the road and three-legged eight sex frogs, you know what I'm talking about. You can't eat the three-eyed fish out of the Simpsons pond, you know. In here, that becomes that accord in that region. Sure does. So you have city systems. The first thing they're going to hit me with for it in the workforce program is going to be that regional master masonal. I got to get free systems down and dirty. The boot camp's got to be right here in my backyard with a stonemason game. And then we run in the 5 miles through town picking up garbage. If there's any areas sited off where there's tires in somebody's backyard, you mind if we just use your free territory to clean that shit up? If it was a military prison, adjusted educational system, it wraps it back around with the labor and work for food and system and time and cost given. What is a free radiant in terms of physics? And nobody wanted it for a long time. What you're going to have to do with it, how there's a program with it in terms of the militia, and what you can actually have a general say, come on guys, it's not necessarily the government's job to do it, but it's going to wind up being a governmental thing, so we have to figure out the net on that, and how those rules and how you're going to figure out your own Senate, your vote system, figure out the engineering on that, because it's going to be the heart of the motor for a lot of part, your leisures, your times, your cost, your systems inside of here. Then I could get my region by something that's graphable, and then I could go to every one of them locally and get my census, find all the workforce programs in there, get to the chemical costs if something's doing something. But right now it's kind of fast and loose under that. And again, you're always going to have that aspect of law is enforced, is only as good as who enforces it. So we have to keep that test pretty tight. I'm not saying that the high-end standard of the police system, certainly the shit is. I'll go down to my local thing. Anybody have a fucking anything in the neighborhood where, okay, arrested, Caesar's Palace, mousetrap build, let's figure it out, get the case down, flip it over, so I don't care if I had the votes or I didn't have the votes, it's going to go my way in the case in physics one way or the other. I could do it from here and just be like, because you'd be there, then it's 365 sphered. Anybody Russia calls, all right, well, I got, you're going to put that in front of the Senate today, everybody in America, if they wanted to flip that down here, if I wanted to kick that in there, because they always grinding off the diamonds that I'm putting down, right? Well, inside here, if that was that local region down here for that building across the road, public works and things like that, you got, right down here, then the state, you got the highway, you got the village right there next, within a quarter mile of the house, a McDonald's, a couple of gas stations, a few bars, a couple of churches, a grocery store, and 2 stoplights. I should be able to figure this out. And then you say, for regional things, how many people? How much does the military do? But that's too much. And a civilian line have broken down more pieces and re-engineer the structure to something that provides the entropy that's necessary based on real physics, because a lot of that is some bullshit. I'm not saying teachers are all that bad, and I'm not saying bosses and drills ain't so bad, but at the same time, we got a lot of people checking it. 1 to 10 person's job just to make a cook so the drill sergeant can do their job. And so you get McDonald's and things like that. But as far as farmers in the town are concerned, 2-legged stool here. Calico cat, male calico cat. You know, if you want to get into the numbers, lions and wolf packs. You know, some of those things. You know, it's a pretty big thing. Important for sure. So where are we in it? We are bringing up the climate control there. That is Kelvin. This is the temperature. It's going to give me controllable numbers where things aren't shifting around on the mask out because we said this is stable. This company's pretty much going to work or it's not going to work. We got so many companies on the table that will or will not work out of the net. Given the cost and the resources, the tax of that area, I like to really tighten down my health security of that area right there. Let's fucking do physics. If you got to zero it out, base it on the number, and figure out what your time and debt game is, then that's what you have to do. You know, you need that census number in there. You need to be able to handle that for regional things. And you know, really, it's like, how efficient is it for things to be for doing this, you know, comparatively to training and things on the region? You know, it makes it tough for things, especially when you do have things like the machine running and public school systems and college systems and the military that's kind of helped downgrade it enough so where that's going to actually be physically capable with plenty enough freedoms inside of there. You know, it's like, well, and then that becomes the test, and you can do harder with more. You can always get back on it. You can always do those things. I'm not going to say it's going to straight time dilate you back to 18 and get you back around, but you can do a whole bunch of stuff with this math given a region and get it around. And if you found yourself by the system based on it doing it right, it's going to notice. At least I certainly hope so. I have rules about it, and they are the work and time fraud case. You know, that is both for those companies, so it brings up your first legal system, Johnny, because you'd be amazed where that one goes. You can get into a lot of harassment, you can get in a lot of discrimination, but those are very much later cases about things in the work fraud case. You have to have the physics, and there's your Stanford work bars, your wiggly squiggly lines, polarizing systems, and graphing computer programs if you wanted to do that. And that's going to control a lot of that climate. Where am I getting them? How am I getting them to that result? Do I grind them on their ass and get them to just mine plastic out of the water instead of going fishing in certain areas, and then figure out how to generate a plastic in that area? It may not last forever. Engineer core, we have to figure out entropy on that. What's the hit? What's the value? What's the time? Just because you get that one business doesn't make it stable in there. Catch you on the next one.